Oh my god.
Are we back?
Yeah. There we go. Oh, let me turn off my fan. What's good, everybody out there on YouTube? This is your man Shadicstick dropping some hot Faraga on this mic, and I am joined by my boy Monocryptic. Say what's good, my neighbor.
I'm pretty excited to be here, actually. This is going to be a good stream.
So, we are streaming, I don't know what episode of the podcast this is in terms of like the Shadic Zone podcast itself. But today we're going to be talking about quite a few things. We're going to be talking about, the overreactions to Sonic Forces, the GOTY nominees, Dragon Ball Super, Goku and Goku versus Kefla, just various things like that. And we're also going to be talking about microtransactions with EA didn't have enough, room in the title to, put that. Sonic Life puts nut, and I need to turn that down. That hurts my ear. So first, let's actually talk about the overreactions to Sonic Forces. Mono, how give your take on just how people are reacting. Do you think they're overreacting? Do you not think they're overreacting? How do you feel?
The entire thing with Sonic Forces, like in my opinion, like before and after release. I don't think that this fan base is in a very good job going against the whole stigma that like we're pretty cancerous, just because like honestly the entire situation is pretty dumb to begin with. I know like it's one thing to be like passionate about a game and stuff like that, but like people like I guess sort of acted about it was a little bit childish. Like there are tons of people on Twitter, that would like just shamelessly rip on the game day in and day out, like just saying things that are like super uncalled for and stuff like that. And I think even now, like it's gotten even worse after the fact that the game's out now, because now that final product to compare their opinions to and stuff like that, like a lot of people have taken the opportunities to sort of like be like, hey, look, I was right, like this game is bad, this game's terrible. I don't think the game's terrible. I don't think it's like it does anything exceptionally well either, but I don't think like it's like one of the worst Sonic games we've gotten. Like pretty decent. I would call it good in some aspects. It's not the best, but I don't think it's as bad as people are doing. And like the situations that I read about, like the Ouija plays guy,
Yeah.
and how he like played the game on stream and then refunded it and acted like he intended to buy an entirely different game, even though he spent the entirety of the day hyping up him playing Forces on Twitch, and then like him saying like because the biggest thing for me is it's one thing to say that you don't like a game and you think it's like a bad experience and stuff. That's totally fine, but like just the way people just like shit on it for no reason, and it's just like there are actual people working on this game and stuff. I don't know if they were like passionate about it or anything, but I don't think warrants them acting like it's another Sonic 06 or it's like another Shadow the Hedgehog or something, because it's really not. It's not that bad. I do think we should expect more from a Sonic team in the future, just because like this game was like in production. Well, it was in production for some period of time within the 4 years between now and Lost World, but I think if they're gonna have that much development time, we should expect them to dedicate a majority of it to actually making the game fix engine. But I do think it's been a little bit ridiculous. Like you can hate Forces, but I don't think you should like how some of these people have been acting on the internet.
Yeah, completely. Before I go into how I feel, I'm gonna read some of the chat. I see Sonic Life says nut. But what's up, Sonic Life? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Sonic Mobile? Welcome to the stream. Yo, what's good, Steven Jesus? Welcome to the stream. All right, so I'm gonna tell you how I feel my opinions about people reactions to Forces. First of all, I had a review I did with Blue Kokiri and Jaden2602 on Jaden2602's channel. Please check out that review. It gives I give my complete opinions on just the basically the gameplay aspect of Forces. I think there are many reactions where I feel people have valid criticisms of the game, like the short stage length, but you know, people, like you said, are taking they're taking the game and they're holding it to, like, they're acting like the game was being hyped up to be the highest pedestal of Sonic games. When in reality, what we got was just, you know, it was a pretty decent game. It wasn't anything that like you said, it didn't do anything revolutionary, but I think people don't give credit where credit's due. They only point out any negative aspects of the game, and some of the things they point out are even inherently negative aspects of the game. Remember, before the game came out, people were complaining about the level design, and level design, for the most part, is only a problem with Classic Sonic. That's the only character where I saw level design being an inherent issue, and that was because his physics in the level design didn't coalesce, and Classic Sonic just shouldn't exist in that game. I don't know how they messed it up. I think I'm getting big. Wow, Mugman, that's pretty hardcore. No, but not to get too far off topic. Like, I feel like people, like you said, are believing it's like 06, and I think, you know, I'm pretty sure you saw the video I made about the Polygon review, and it's not the fact that, you know, people feel negatively about the game. It's not the fact that people, you know, dislike the game. It's the fact that people are going out of their way to make the game either seem worse than what it is, or two, just things they're saying are contradicting. They're not adding up. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to, you know, and on top of that, I feel like they also use the game to, like, I don't know why, but they use the game to, you know, attack the fan base or just fans of, you know, the series, which I don't think is inherently right. You know, you got something to say, my dude? I heard you're trying to step up to say something.
Like, I think like, usually I'm not one to say that, like, critics hate Sonic because it's Sonic, but I do think with a lot of them there's some definite bias there. Like for me, just in the way that people were, like, starting some of their reviews and just, like, addressing the situation in general, it sounded like they were waiting for the game to fail. And, you know, when the Famitsu score for this game came out, and it was pretty good, like 87%. There were people who were genuinely mad, and I was confused as to why, because that, like, backwards thinking helps no one. Like, even if you don't like a game in a franchise, if you are as passionate about it as you say, you should still want it to
succeed.
Like, succeed. Yeah. And you shouldn't, like, sit there waiting for it to fail so that you could say, "Oh, I was right." That's kind of stupid. And it's just like I said too, I think some of these guys came in there with some, like, definite bias towards the game, because, like, weren't playing the game to, like, you know, pick at it objectively. Rather, they were picking out all of the negative things, and they were so focused on everything that was bad that they didn't really pay attention to the things that were, like, good and stuff.
Yeah, because, like, I feel like the game did a lot of good things that were good. Like, the creative character, for the most part, is really well done. I think a lot of people can agree on that. Let me read some of the, you know, chat before we go on, because, you know, I feel like this is going to be a long topic. Let's see. All right. Let's see. From Sonic Life. Excuse me. Sonic Force is a good game to me, but I think that if you've seen the Need for Speed payback review, is just like the Sonic Force payback force. If you need the speed for P, if you've seen the Need for Speed payback review, it's just like the Sonic Forces. Okay, that took me a minute there. Yo, what's up, Chili Hog? What's up, Seth? Welcome to the stream. Steven, for me, Sega didn't hype it up, the fandom did, which I do agree. Sega didn't hype up the game. They just released some, you know, trailers that I thought were pretty decent trailers, you know what I'm saying? They weren't the most amazing thing on the planet. Well, that first reveal trailer at the at South by Southwest, that I was hyped as a mug, but everything else, you know, I was like, these are some pretty nice trailers. I'm also likely going to make a review on Pixel, but honestly, people act like this game is worse than 06, and that is over exaggeration to the highest point. Like you said, they don't mention good things. That is a great. First of all, I would like to see a review. Sonic Mobile do it. It is it is exaggeration to the highest point, because people are making this game to look like Sonic 06. Like, you shouldn't sit up here. Like, it's the fact that people think this game is Sonic 06 level. Sonic 06 barely functions, first of all. That game barely functions. Second of all, I get an aneurysm every time I play it. This game is nowhere near giving me an aneurysm. I actually rather enjoy it. I don't enjoy the classic Sonic portion of the game, sadly. They messed that up on every level. Hey RRG, welcome to the stream. Tanuki Deku Mayo. Buenos dias, Mandy. That's an oath me. Get that here. Sorry, I'm not sticking around for long. I gotta go to sleep as I got school. Alright, RG night. Mel Sonic Mania. I was jaded enough to become impartial. Alright, I see. The cousin character was my favorite, so I'm leaving. I'll give my opinions. The game to me was just disappointing. See, and that's another thing. A lot of people were just genuinely disappointed. We'll talk about this more. I'm just trying to read the chat. Some stages were story. Yeah, that's another thing that people disliked about the game. Well, the thing is, every time they show something, people will hate on it. That's why they were scared. Man, they should have just made Unleashed 2 with just Sonic. I'm gonna come back to that in a few, but let's talk about, the disappointment part. Like, I don't know how you feel, Mono. I wasn't really disappointed because I wasn't expecting it to be the greatest Sonic game ever. I was just expecting an enjoyable experience. That's why I say the game is decent. I think people had super high expectations, or they were wanting the game to fail, and that's where a lot of the hate also comes from. How do you feel? Mono?
I actually kind of was disappointed with Sonic Forces, and it's primarily just because, like, the marketing campaign for this game and stuff. Like, I wouldn't say they were hyping it up, but they seemed to present us with a this like super crazy story, like for Forces. Like, they were acting, the story that we got, like, based on what they were telling us and stuff like that, it seemed like this really interesting Sonic story we've never gotten before. Genuinely interested me. So the thing that I was most excited to see when I first got my hands on Forces was how the story was, like, how involved was it. And I think the thing that disappointed me the most is the way they handled the villains. Like, the only two bosses that you ever fight throughout the entirety of this game are Eggman and Infinite. And the only reason, and Zavik, I guess, but the main reason why I'm just disappointed is because they were hyping up the, like, four villains as, like, this great comeback, like, this was going to be a huge obstacle for Sonic to overcome. But they weren't even, like, real, like, they were addressing them.
Well, I think Zavok was real. I think because, like, he talked like it was Zavok. It wasn't like he was an illusion. But what is his face? Chaos you didn't even fight Chaos, my dude. Like,
yeah, it was just like they were acting like they were the real, like, actual characters. Like, they kept on saying, oh, they're there for their own reasons. They're with Eggman for their own reasons. And I was like, okay, I'm really interested to see what they're doing here now. Like, I want to know why they're there. But they're all just clones, So it's like, that was really disappointing for me, especially for Chaos. I was super excited to see Chaos back and, like, see him actually doing stuff, but he didn't do anything.
Same. Like, I think that was the most disappointing portion of the game for me, if I did have any disappointment. And it wasn't even because, like, of the story elements themselves. It's the way they, like you said, they presented this story to be, more than it was. Yeah. I think that's the only part of the marketing that, where I feel like, they misconstrued something, because I went in thinking this was, like, gonna be like, and there are aspects of the story I like, but, there's just, you have characters like Infinite, while, the Forces comic helps, he's a very shallow character. Like, when I say a very shallow character, like we took all the Sonic villains and lined them up, or just Sonic antagonists and lined them up, you know, in their respective games where they were the antagonists, and we put them on a scale of, you know, pretty good, you know, in terms of being a good villain and like the worst. We'll make like with the exception of Eggman, because Eggman's in every game. Let's make, you know, like I guess, you know, Shadow SA2 Shadow or whatever the top, and let's make let's see, I don't know who to make the bottom. I don't know. Mephiles. We'll make Mephiles the
I
bottom.
put Shadic there, Mephiles. Yeah.
Well, no. But Zavik in his own right isn't really a bad villain. It was just the story that I believe was
Done
bad
in
in
Lost World wasn't very good.
Like Lost World's story wasn't very it wasn't good. Like the story in Lost World wasn't good. But Zavik in himself was like I liked Zavik as a villain because he was the only one of them that had character. He was the only one that actually truly felt villainous, you know what I mean? Like, he seemed like he had purpose. He wanted to control everything. He had purpose. It wasn't like he was just... He didn't feel... The rest of the Deadly Six felt shoehorned, but Zavik himself didn't feel shoehorned. It felt like Zavik was supposed to just be the main villain. Eminent is too weak. I was expecting Eminent to be a menacing character like Mephiles. I never felt like Mephiles was... you know, menacing. Mephiles was just a garbage character in general. Welcome to the stream, Sonic Guru Productions. Steven, you finished as fast as possible. I understand that. But, I will say, like, elements of the story, such as, you know, the actual tone and, like, not all of the dialogue, but because, you know, you have that I am not weak line, and that's just...
Yes,
that just spells Naruto. But you know, there's a lot of like the dialogue in general. It feels a lot more, you know. It feels more on the Unleashed side of things in general, in compare, like, because you know, Unleashed dialogue was I think really well written. I think overall Unleashed was a very well written game. If we're talking about story here, and I think Forces falls in terms of just how they wrote the dialogue itself there, and the voice acting has come a long way, especially Kirk Thornton. My God, I used to hate Kirk Thornton in Shadow. Now I actually like him in Shadow.
He's pretty. They've all gotten a lot. They've gotten used to their world, so it sounds a little bit more natural. You know, like especially Roger Craig Smith. Like this boy.
This boy's out here
Good
dropping
for
some
Boom
hot
Sonic
stuff.
because that's the first iteration of Sonic we've gotten before. And so it's like we have nothing to compare it to beforehand. So like I'm fine with him being Boost Sonic, but he did sound a little bit forced being regular Sonic, but he sounds really natural here. Like I think some of the best lines like from the Sonic franchise came from this game, honestly. It was a really good performance. And I used to like I've always like liked Roger. I didn't hate him like everyone like well not everyone else, but like a lot of other people did. But still did think that Jason Griffith was like the most natural sounding Sonic. But now, I think Roger is a little bit more
Natural sounding, yeah.
like his voice a lot more.
It's like because I feel like especially like one scene that really sticks out with me with Roger in this game is the scene where Sonic comes and saves Silver.
Like I watch that cutscene all the time because I love it. It's perfect interaction.
Like the way he like approaches, you know, Infinite. He's just like, really? You think you're gonna do this? Like, if I can search it up real quick, I'll play it. But let's read some of the comments before we go on.
I love it, especially the line. Getting to know each other. What's your favorite color? Do you like romantic walks on? It's so natural. Like usually, if it was like Generations Roger, I think it would have sounded a little bit cringy, but it sounds really nice here.
Tell him on it's because you're on the Switch version. It's an inside joke. It's because you're on the Switch version.
Oh boy. But yeah, I think it was pretty good. That was a good scene. I think the only real problem I'd have with Sonic and Sonic Forces and its like line delivery and stuff is that
yeah, right.
I think like it should have been a little bit more serious at certain points, like just because like I don't know. I think the writing, because I'm pretty sure like Sonic Team actually like wrote this story and stuff like internally. I think it's a good concept, and I think they had the grounds for something like really good here. But to see like actual like seasoned writers be tasked with writing a script for a game like this, because experience feeling kind of like underwhelmed, because I expected to see a lot more like character development and like just interaction and stuff. And then we didn't really get that. I don't really like the that plays throughout the stages. I don't like that either. I think that specifically shouldn't be used to like push the narrative or something. I think that's just be for like character interaction, and then all of the critical like story parts should be like cutscenes. Like that one point in episode Shadow where Shadow is talking to Omega and Omega's like going off the rails and junk. That would have worked a lot better as an actual cutscene, and then like having you confront Infinite, and then like after you finish the stage, you have a little radio interaction with Infinite, and that would have been a lot better if that was a cutscene as well. But we only got the one cutscene in episode Shadow, which was honestly like I think the weakest cutscene in the game, just because it didn't do Infinite any favors.
Also, I agree with you on like
little...
before you go on. I agree with you on many levels. Like before you keep going, because I want to talk on that cutscene thing. Everything is like everything in terms of like just like cutscenes and stuff. I definitely feel like they should have upped everything, because like I feel like a lot of the stuff is just should have just been cutscenes, but they didn't all right, let me read what Luis said. He said Forza another 06 in terms of lost potential. You're somewhat right to a degree on that. I wouldn't say it's 06 lost potential, but there is lost potential within the game. Sonic Mobile, Izuka Nakamura said they wanted Infinite to be the most powerful villain in the series, but honestly, I don't feel like that with Infinite. Infinite boss fight made me feel more mad. We'll actually talk about that a little bit more in a few. But my bad. I just had a brain fart. What was I gonna say? In terms of just like potential loss, I feel like a lot of it's in the cutscenes. Because had we had those cutscenes, it maybe would have artificially linked the game. But I feel like there's a lot of stuff also within the levels that I feel like needs to be there. I feel like that's another thing. I feel like they cut a lot of content from the game, and I feel like there's just content cut from the game, especially telling by the story. Because things just sometimes just like looking at things just didn't add up. Like I went back and I don't know if I missed something, but after that Infinite boss fight, like they didn't even like address him. They addressed that he was gone, but like they didn't address where he went. They didn't address anything about him. He's just gone. They're like, "Ooh, Infinite." They're like, "Ooh, we beat him." That's it.
So like because in Sonic Forces there are still 3 DLC packs that have not been released yet. One is going to be the one with Super Sonic. I'm presuming that the other one is going to be the one with the Sonic shirts. There's one more that we have no idea what it is. I think that will be more custom avatar. Well, it may be some more avatar stuff, but if they haven't found the files for that yet, I'm not. So there are 2 options for that. Either it's an extra story where Super Sonic is utilized. You have your like final confrontation with Infinite or something as Super Sonic. It's just I don't know. Maybe it's another episode or something. But
before you go,
I'm guessing.
Actually, no. Go ahead. Because I have something I want to say.
I'm guessing a majority of that's going to be cosmetic and Super Sonic. I wouldn't too much on like it being like some major story element type thing, but nah, I think it'll be like a Super. The only thing that we'll get concerning gameplay would be Super Sonic. Maybe some other cosmetic stuff, but I'm hoping that it's something story related. That'd be cool to get a little bit more info on it.
I wouldn't say false advertising, but they said Shadow had his own reasons for being bad, but he had no reason. He was just a hologram. Same thing with Chaos when you fight him. Yeah, Sega did bad on that part. Yeah, I also think that too. One of the things that I really get upset with, in terms of forces. Well, not upset. My bad. I'm not, my brain. I was just thinking about what he just said. I was about to repeat that that statement, but I feel like what they should do in the future in terms of DLC is they should introduce, like you said, more. You said you hope there are more episodes. I hope they release, maybe some, if besides just in general post game content or just continuing the story from Forces. I hope they release like episodes for individual characters. Like I feel like Silver should get his own episode, because while we don't see really a whole lot of him, we do know we did see him fighting Infinite. And I want to see like something that leading up to that. I want to see what these other characters are doing besides Tails. We know Tails. Tails is a bad character now.
Please, they messed him up so bad.
Oh Lord, I can't do anything without Sonic. And then I don't know if you've seen the meme on Twitter. I forgot who posted it, but it was posting an SA2 screenshot where Tails doesn't know Sonic is alive. Where and
then it's him standing over Eggman, and then the one where he's just whining.
I know, I'm just why, bro? If Chaos was a boss fight, he would have been a classic Sonic boss fight. That's the thing with classic Sonic. Classic Sonic could work just as boss fights. If he were only boss fights, because in the boss fights he's in, his physics, work fine for that. Because he's not doing a lot of platforming or anything. He's just, fighting. The rest of the game does not function well with classic Sonic.
Yeah, because I don't think the level design is bad necessarily for classic. I do think that there's a healthy amount of different paths that you could take, especially in stages like Ghost Town, and I think, but the physics just don't work at all. In Chemical Plant, the first slope you get to, and you have to roll down it to get to the upper pathway and stuff, that doesn't work unless you spin dash right before you do the thing. You can't just roll and expect to get it. So the physics don't even work the way that they're intended to. So.
It's such a small slope, and if he runs, he just stops.
That's what I'm like. It doesn't work. So it's I'm just whatever, boys.
Tails had no character development. He fought Chaos 4, and now he's scared of Chaos 0. That annoyed me a bit. Actually, you know what? Yeah, that kind of annoys me too. Silver will work as a Sonic or Avatar skin. I feel like they should make Silver more of his own thing. Shadow, he fits as a Sonic skin because that's basically what he originally was just a skin over Sonic. And even though his physics are different, and he has, the, enemy line thing where he can go through a line of enemies, basically. I feel like they should do something more for Silver to differentiate him from the other two if they do include him.
I think that'd be possible, too.
True, Trent, heads up. My bad for cutting you off. Go ahead, Mono.
If they slowed him down, and made some, because his boost could be, him floating with his telekinesis and stuff. I feel like it would work. He'd probably have to have a slower running speed than the rest. Maybe even then his entire animation could be him running and then him floating, so that he could be at the same speed. But it makes sense for him to be faster. I mean, as fast as the other two. But I'd like to see that because he just came out of nowhere. They don't explain why he's there at all. He's just there.
Exactly. Actually touching on that dialogue, the dialogue thing you were talking about earlier during the stages, I feel like they should somewhat. This is one thing I think Lost World kind of did that was smart. You had the time trial section, and then you had the story version of the stage. I feel like they should have had something like that in Forces and then implemented cutscenes within the story version of the stage, you know what I'm saying? It had all the dialogue there, all that stuff. But then have the stage that's just going straight through, you know, maybe have some of the cinematic stuff with the QTEs, etc., in the time trial version of that stage. What about Supersonic Suspension that takes place after the main game? Basically, Infinite's managed to heal or something and crazy blah, blah, blah. I think that would be cool.
You have a sponsor in here, boy.
So a sponsor? Someone sponsored?
I think it's like the green and then the two circles and junk. I think that's a sponsor, boy.
Oh yeah, that is a sponsor. Did someone sponsor me right now? Oh yeah, Insane Pup. Insane Pup. Yo, welcome to the stream. Yeah, no, I already knew he was a sponsor. I was like, I thought someone else sponsored. I was about to be hype, bro. I was like, hype train, let's go. Oh man. By the way, if you haven't ever donated, you should donate because your boy, it would help your boy out a lot. Trust me, it would actually help out a lot. Your boy bank account looking dry. But on the real, if you can donate, it's much appreciated. You don't have to, but I really do appreciate it. And if you would like to sponsor, I think it's only $5 or $6 a month. You basically get, you know, sponsored chat, and on top of that, you know, you're just a cool dude. And I'm actually, you know, I have to add on to my badge. I have to make my sponsor badge and stuff, and you also get custom emojis too in the chat, so that's pretty cool. My bad. What you laughing at, Milo?
I think just to do that.
Everybody,
respect, boys.
Everybody, donate. I was gonna do donate, but I don't got PayPal, sadly. Sanic Mobile, you could always do super chat, my dude. You could always do super chat. Do super chat.
You're rip. Yeah, do that super chat, boys.
Oh man.
What, $5?
I don't know. You can donate however much you want.
Is there anything else?
What
on this?
I mean, we can just keep talking about Forces if it's some more if you want.
I don't really know if there's anything specifically that I want to talk about, though. I think
I don't think there's anything really. like I'm gonna say this before we so we can close this out on a good note. While, you know, there were disappointing things about Forces, I wasn't really disappointed by the game as a whole. I actually really, you know, enjoyed it. Had a very enjoyable experience. I've gone back and played it a lot, especially because, you know, I like playing the custom character. I think it's a really good game. And not a really good, no, my bad. Let me take that back. Not a really good game. I think there are really good things about the game. Like the custom character. I think the custom character is really done well. And I
would love to see the custom character with like Generations level design or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And before, actually, I want to talk about the custom character a little. Actually, I don't want. There's something I want to say. The custom character. Before we end this, like, I remember everybody being like scared, talking about the custom character. It looks so linear, and I was like, some of these stages have more paths than the average, like, you know, than like classic games, especially in 2D sections. Like, this game has a lot of paths. That's one thing I can't sit here and call this game for the most part. It's like hyper linear. The most linear gameplay style is Modern Sonic, and it's at worst it gets Adventure linear. Adventure is really like linear. Adventure is really, really, really linear. I don't think people realize.
But like the only thing I'd say there is just like a little bit linear. It does require a lot more input and precision than Forces does.
Well, linear doesn't mean have anything to do with input. That's linear is just going in a straight line. That's all linear is in stage design is, you know, a lack of, you know. I wouldn't say it's just basically just going forward. you going forward, because Sonic games for the most part are all linear. I don't think there's really one that isn't linear. You know, they all are pretty linear. I mean, I think that's.
I can say though, it is pretty fun to speedrun this game, because I just saw that in the comments. It is actually pretty fun to speedrun.
It is.
I have a good time when I do it. So,
Luis, I'm not even done with the Shadic zone. We got like 3 more topics. We're 30 minutes in. We got 3 more topics. So it seems overall the custom hero had the most work spent on it, which I didn't mind because it was a really cool concept. Insane pup, like that's the part of the game I enjoyed the most, and I'm glad I enjoyed that part of the game the most, because it was something new and it worked really well. You know what I mean? Let's go on to Game of the Year nominees and talking about Game of the Year. All right, so your boy here. He's gonna pull up the Game of the Year nominees. So GOTY nominees, because I know it's Odyssey, Breath of the Wild. All right, they pulled it up here. So for the Game of the Year nominees, we have PUBG, or PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, DayZ 2.0. Basically, we have Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, Super Mario Odyssey, and The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Before we go on and talk about what we believe is our Game of the Years and how we feel, did y'all know Horizon Zero Dawn is on Amazon for $20 right now? Yes, actually, Ryan. I saw that Saturday. I want to cop it, but broke boys out here.
I know that feeling.
Before we go on, I think every game on this list right here deserves to be on here except for PUBG. PUBG does not deserve to be on this list in the slightest. How do you feel?
Like, here's the thing, right? With the Game Awards, they nominate games that are supposed to be like, in the industry and stuff like that. But I mean, like, PUBG is fun, but it doesn't really do anything. Like, I could understand Overwatch getting nominated for Game of the Year last year, because like it did do some like things that were new to the industry and the genre, right? Yeah. It was like a technological advancement. But PUBG isn't, one, it's not even done yet. Two, I just think that like situational thing, like it was the first game the genre to do something and do it really well, to the point that like tons of people would buy it. And how much does this game cost?
It costs $30, but it's not even fully out yet.
I don't think it really fits the criteria for being a Game of the Year nominee. I can see it doing like best game, like best multiplayer game. Like I could definitely see that, because it's the multiplayer game people who've been playing the most this year. Like they clearly like it. But I don't see it being Game of the Year material, honestly. Like, because with all of the other Game of the Year nominees, I can understand why they're there. Like, whether or not
hyper polished games, and they're all really, really good. You know what I mean?
Whether or not I agree with them is another story, but I can understand and respect why they were nominated for the role.
Yeah, Nier deserves the spot of PUBG. There's a lot of people saying. Some people even saying Sonic Mania I've seen, which I was surprised about, because it was a $20 game. Well, I think Sonic Mania is one of the best games of the year. Does it deserve it? I can see that game being on here before PUBG. PUBG, first of all, is unfinished, not fully released. Second of all, it's just a buggy, glitchy mess. Doesn't run well on anything. Just because
it's very glitchy from what I've seen.
Look at the Steam page. It may be the most played game on Steam right now, but it also has mixed reviews. Mixed reviews on Steam, don't indicate the best thing. You know what I mean? Like, there are enough people disliking this game on Steam. Like this game isn't even it's barely at 60%. You know what I'm saying? So, in terms of just, people liking it. So this game just doesn't deserve to be on here. People arguing that people are playing it and buying it, that doesn't mean it deserves to be on the list. Like, dude I know called Platinum, Platinum's cool dude, but I will butt heads with this man on opinions or just discussion sometimes. Like, we were talking about, he was just like, PUBG, I can see why it's on this list because it sold a lot. I was like, selling a lot doesn't make it a good game. Just because it sells a lot doesn't mean crap. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you can sell a lot, but that doesn't mean you're deserving.
Like, Sonic 06 still sold a lot of copies. You can sell a bad game.
Like, exactly. Sonic 06, like, you can make that argument for Sonic 06. If a lot of people bought that game, then it deserves to be on that spot. No. On top of that, like I said, he was trying to argue, well, it sold out a lot more than Nier. Nier is very niche. I was just like, Nier sold almost over 2 million copies in like the first first month.
It sold a lot.
Like, it sold a lot by now. He was just like, I was just like, almost all the reviews on Steam are overwhelmingly positive, I believe. And I was trying to tell him, I was just like, 12,000 people reviewing the game is a sizable review. Just because PUBG has a much larger review pool doesn't mean anything. If most people don't view the game as good, then they don't view it as good. You know what I mean? Yeah. By the way, go check out Dragon Ball Budo 10 Element X. No, but on the real,
though. Oh, wait a second. I don't think they put Dragon Ball Fighters on there for most anticipated title. That's weird.
It's not a most anticipated title. There are other games overshadowing it. While I think it's like,
see that there, I would have. Well, actually, never mind. I wouldn't have voted for it because Monster Hunter. Never mind. Actually, I was
about to say. Are you waiting for Monster Hunter? Breath of the Wild and Odyssey deserves a nominee for a lot of great reasons. Yes, they do. Let's get off PUBG. Persona 5, all right? Persona 5, one of my favorite games of the year. I still have to beat the game. I'm on, Shido's Temple. I just mean Palace. Wrong Persona. I'm on Shido's Palace. And right now, I need to beat the game. I just haven't had time. But it is one of the greatest games I played this year. Anytime I sit down and play that game, I play it for like a solid 5 hours. I don't just dilly-dally around. I sit there and play Persona 5. I think the shortest amount of time I've sat down and played that game is like an hour. That's the shortest amount of time I've sat there for one session and played the game, and that's because I had to go somewhere. Almost forgot I had to leave. Oh, what about Persona 5? Like, Persona 5 is a very great game. Now, I think Breath of the Wild overshadows it in terms of I think Breath of the Wild is the better game. And I will argue to the ends of the earth that it's the better game. There are some people, like Mono, that would disagree, but...
Yeah, honestly, the only reason I say so is I just think that, Breath of the Wild... I think that Persona 5 is a more well-rounded package. Because honestly, I think it offers more Breath of the Wild does. So if we were doing, RPGs, I would honestly give Persona 5 for RPGs, but I mean, I can see why people would nominate and then vote for all that, and because even if it didn't have the greatest story, pretty much everything else about it was phenomenal. So I could definitely see it being Game of the Year. And so, plus, I'm pretty sure it just appeals to a wider array of people, so more people would consider it to be Game of the Year.
Well, this is the thing I gotta say about Breath of the Wild. It doesn't have the greatest story, but it has a solid, good story. It doesn't have to be the greatest story. You know what I mean? Because, so let's take other Zelda games. Ocarina of Time, for the longest time, besides Breath of the Wild, now I think passing it, Ocarina of Time was the highest rated Zelda game of all time, and it definitely didn't have the best story out of all of them. I would argue, Wind Waker definitely, is one of those games I feel like that's one of, in terms of, just as a game in general, I feel like that's one of the greatest games of all time. But in terms of Zelda games, I feel like it has, I definitely don't think it's one of the greatest game stories of all time. But I definitely think it's one of the greatest Zelda stories of all time. You know what I mean? Bubsy the Woolly Strike Back's game of the decade. Turn on Hardy. Somehow Horizon won Best Narrative over Nier. I mean, I've only got to play a little bit of Horizon, a little bit of Nier, so I can't speak on the narrative. Yo, Shadow, will you get Monster Hunter? I don't know if he's talking to me. I'm not getting Monster Hunter because your boy Your boy don't got Monster Hunter money. There are games that are more important to me than Monster Hunter, like The City, your boy. But, you know, if I had the money, I'd get Monster Hunter. No, Bubsy is game of the century. Oh, Lord. I played Horizon Zero Dawn DLC, and it's hard but cool, so it's fun. I can't really speak too much on Horizon Zero Dawn. From what I've only played a little bit of it at the store. I don't think it's like better than Zelda from what I played.
Which one? Horizon Zero Dawn?
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn. But from what I played, it was really fun. It was really fun. It wasn't like by any means was it not a good game. Like I think that's one of the best Sony first party games to exist, if not the best one. But then again, go ahead.
You can finish first.
No, I was just gonna say, because like I don't think there's any, like, in terms of like Sony first party exclusives, I don't think there's any other game that rivals that. I think all of them like are pale in comparison to that game. Go ahead.
See, like since I come from like the roots of Monster Hunter boys, and I've played the genre a little bit more. What's it called? Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, I'm pretty sure they even themselves said it was inspired by Monster Hunter. I don't think it's bad, but I think compared to the genuine, well, not genuine. I wouldn't call it genuine, but I think for this is just me coming from the perspective of a Monster Hunter fan. It seems a little bit generic of an experience when it comes to like hunting and stuff.
Well, I think that they're only inspired to a degree by Monster Hunter, because like it feels more like it doesn't feel like a Monster Hunter game in the respect that, you know, I think they were inspired by aspects of Monster Hunter.
Like elements from it.
Yeah, like I don't think,
and then they made their own stuff.
Yeah, like I think they just like saw some of the elements such as hunting and stuff, and they were like, I like that. I like what they did there. Let's try to implement some of that in our game. And I don't think they were wholly inspired by that game, by, you know, just Monster Hunter. For the most part, it feels like what Breath of the Wild is. It feels like more like Breath of the Wild than anything. Out of any other game I've played, that's what it feels like. That and Skyrim. Go ahead, my bad.
Only reason why I would do, because it's a little bit more cinematic than Monster Hunter is. So that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't enjoy it as much as other people did. Because like the Monster Hunter games are a bit more like it's a lot of player input. Like a majority of the people, like the reason Monster Hunter is so niche today is because the game doesn't really explain anything to the player. It's all up to the player, like they're in the game and everything like that. It is. So I think that's one of the reasons why I'm a fan of Horizon Zero Dawn. But I can see why they would nominate it for Game of the Year. But I'm hoping the next year when World comes out, it's on that pedestal as well. That's what I'm waiting for, boys.
Like on that genre, in that genre of games that Monster Hunter is, which I like to call it the dungeon crawler Monster Hunter. Like, because Monster Hunter is in the game that like started off that genre. I forgot what game started off that genre. It was what is it called? That made that genre popular. What was the game called that made that genre? Phantasy Star. Phantasy Star made that genre popular, especially in Japan. But I feel like Horizon Zero Dawn is a game that definitely does deserve to be on this list. Chili Hog, I mean, why do you think Monster Hunter have a crossover Horizon, which actually made me want the game? That's nice. Horizon Zero Dawn is great, but God of War and Spider-Man PS4 is better first-party exclusive for Sony. I think this God of War is the only one that has ever looked interesting to me at all. Because I despise the rest of the God of Wars. I despise them with a burning passion. Like, I do not like them at all. Like, I like most. It's like it's the game is just one huge quick time event. So that's basically what the game is. This is a big quick time event. I've never like enjoyed Monster Hunter at all. I mean, not Monster Hunter, my bad. God of War at all. Like, I just didn't. I never like. I can't like God of War. It tries too hard and in a lot of ways to be cinematic for me. It just tries too hard in general for me. Spider-Man, maybe, because I'm a huge, like, in terms of, like, just I love Spider-Man, especially the Spider-Man games. I haven't been able to play Web of Shadows and Shattered Dimension. Well, no, I think I played one of them. One of them I played on PSP, but I forgot which one. But I love Spider-Man games, and Spider-Man PS4 hopefully does become the best exclusive Sony gets in terms of first-party games. Because I think it's developed by Insomniac. It's published by Activision, but being developed by Insomniac. I heard there's an event coming up on February and probably going to show up to PSX. I doubt it's going to show up at PSX. I know in February there's probably going to be an event, though. Let's move on to Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey is just perfect. This is a perfect game.
It yet, so I can't say anything. I haven't played it.
It's genuinely a perfect game. Like, the game has no faults. It has no faults. I think one guy was complaining on Twitter that he was like, I don't like that it has motion controls because it doesn't tell you what to do. I was just like, it does. It tells you in the action guide that they tell you, hey, maybe you should read this to know what to do in the game. They tell you, first off, they give you a tutorial on how to do everything. Then they tell you, like, oh, this has everything in the game. Open it at any time, and it's always in the start menu when you start up the game. So I was just like, that's your fault for genuinely just not looking at what the game gives you. How long was Odyssey in development? I don't know. Must have been a long time. It has to be a long time because that game's too polished and too good. Like, it is genuinely too good. While I don't think it's the best game on this list, I think it's a perfect game by any means. Like, it's good at everything. Like, it's just good at everything. Even, like, its story, I think, especially for a Mario game, is good. It's fun and enjoyable. Like, it's just, it doesn't try to, become Sunshine's story. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a fun, enjoyable story, and that's what I feel like a Mario game needs to have. 4 years probably. When was Galaxy 2 released? 2011?
I think that was 2010 or something.
I'd say at least 4 or 5 years, Chili Hog. Yeah, that's about 4 or 5 years. And lastly, let's talk about, like, since you haven't played Odyssey, let's talk about Breath of the Wild.
For that, yeah.
Breath of the Wild. I believe it's game of the year. Like,
I'd still say it's Persona 5.
Like, but let's talk about why Breath of the Wild is on here, though. Breath of the Wild, honestly, like, it's one of those games that's gonna last the test of time. Like, I don't think anything in this game will age, really. And I think a lot of the approaches they made towards the game and a lot of stuff that they did, you could tell this was, like, worked on for years. You could tell that, Nintendo, like that team, that 300-plus man team, put their blood, sweat, and tears into this game. Because it genuinely feels like an experience I will never forget. That's what this game is.
They're developing it to, like, this is what they wanted to do with Zelda to begin with.
Well, true.
Technology to be able to do so. So it's just like, it's like, imagine, like, let's see. I guess Beyond Good and Evil 2 is a good example because they wanted to make the sequel, right? But they couldn't do it because the technology didn't allow. It's sort of like that situation. They've been waiting.
There was more with Beyond Good and Evil 2, though. There was more to that.
It's just like they were waiting this entire time to be able to make it, and now they actually have the chance to do so. So it's sort of like passion building up over the year, coming out to make something really good.
Well, true. Yeah, that is true. One thing I gotta say is we were talking about linear games earlier. This is the one game that is the opposite of linear because the game, while it tends to guide the player on paths to take, you don't have to take those paths at all. You can do whatever you want in this game. The game encourages you to do what you want. You know what I mean? It encourages you to explore the map, to find out new things, find new weapons, find new enemies to challenge. The game presents challenges at every possible chance it gets, while also telling the player. It makes you. The game makes you think, and it allows you to think. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like it does anything really unfair. I think the only thing that's unfair are the Lionels, because those things are gods. Like, those things are genuinely gods in this game. But like, it's the game. Like you can go straight after you get off the. Technically, you don't even have to get the parachute thing. I think there's a way you can get down the little thing without getting the paraglider. But technically, you can just go fight Ganon from the beginning. You don't need There's not anything required for you to do anything in the game. Like, hold up, I gotta stretch.
Okay, it's like
Go ahead.
it's like with the Game Awards, they're always talking like they pretty much I think the biggest thing they're emphasizing with like what you have to do in order to be like even considered for a nomination is you just have to like do something that's never been done before and do it really well. I do honestly think Breath of the Wild has done that, because it's been it really took the open world model and did its own thing with it and made it like unique to the point where it genuinely is an open world game now, because you could do pretty much whatever you want in any fashion you want. And that's not something that I think has been present in any game before. Like, I can't think of another game where you can story however you want to.
True. Like, I think, Shadic, if I send you a $500 super chat, how much of it will you receive? I'll receive 75% of that super chat. Also, how many devs are in Sonic Team? Sup, Shadic? What's good, Trey Pendleton? How you doing? They're usually small in teams, but there should be at least over. How many devs are in Sonic Team? I think it's Sonic Team's rather small. It's usually rather small. The GOTY is just a popularity contest in most cases. Actually, I think 2015 when Splatoon came out, I was actually really happy that year because Splatoon won Shooter of the Year against like a bunch of big hitters and games that were a lot more popular, and on platforms that were a lot more popular. But Splatoon managed to win out. So I can't say all of the awards are just popularity. If a game is good enough to hit the top, it will hit the top usually.
Even here, only 10% of the actual popularity vote goes into the final verdict. The rest of it is internal.
So maybe someone genuinely had the idea that PUBG deserved to be on this list. Their opinions are dumb.
It's pretty stupid.
Like, on the real though, like, I genuinely think for the most part a lot of these games, deserve to be up here except for PUBG. PUBG doesn't deserve to be on any list unless it's like popularity, most popular game of the year. Maybe that. What are you gonna say, Mono?
I was just making a bad joke, boys.
Making a bad joke, boys.
Where's Sonic Forces on the list? But I think most of the nominees for the Game Awards, it makes sense that they're on there. They're all pretty appropriate, except for PUBG's Game of the Year. That didn't make sense to me as soon as I saw it. I thought it was stupid to begin with. Like, aside from that, like, there are tons of other games that were like actually finished, better like experiences to begin with that deserve to be on there. So that's my only gripe with that. But I think in general, these Game Awards is like the Nintendo Awards, because there are so many Nintendo games that are
there's so many
being
good
like
Nintendo's games this year. Think about
it. They got so many first party stuff for the Switch. So
which is really
I think it's cool to see Nintendo go from that like this complete 180 where they had like no first parties, and then this year they're dominating the Game Awards. So that's really cool.
PUBG is also going to be over. It didn't put PewDiePie play it too. Yeah, dude. Remember what he said on stream? Oh man. Hypersonic is also Sonic Forces is nominated for GOTY. My lord. Let's actually talk about our favorite games of the year, though. Just games we played in general. This can be any game, period. Games we picked up, out of bargain bin. Games, we pre-ordered and we were highly expecting. You go first, Mono. What were your favorite games of this year?
I think the one would obviously be Sonic Mania. That's one that stands out to me, just because like it lived up to the hype. There was tons of passion put into it. It was a really fun time. Like Sonic Mania it's a part, like I think it's an amazing game. And I only really have like two problems with it, and those are like very small problems. So I would definitely have Sonic Mania be on that list because it was hella fun. I would put Breath of the Wild on there too, just because like I poured a lot of time into that game and I had a genuinely fun time playing it. Like that was a good experience. Playing it for the first time was like it was crazy. So I would definitely have that be on there as well. I think I'll put Splatoon 2 there too, just because like I game a lot. I think it's pretty fun, so I would put Splatoon 2 there as well. Trying to think if there's anything else that I did this year that I would like. Persona. Also, I would also put Monster Hunter Double Cross. I played that a little bit, but no, it didn't come to the West, so I didn't actually play it in the
You played the demo.
English language, but I still had a lot of fun with that. So.
Oh yeah, well, I'd say my favorite games for this year have to be one, Breath of the Wild. Like I said, it's a phenomenal game. It's one of those games I'll never forget. One of my favorite games of all time now. And the only other Zelda game that are in my favorite games of all time is Wind Waker. The rest of them, I really don't care as much about as I do with like Breath of the Wild and Wind Waker. These are like games that are like up there for me. Well, I think a lot of the other Zelda games are really good games. I just think these like are these define the series because I feel like Wind Waker, I feel like Wind Waker was also trying to realize what the Zelda team had been trying to do for Miyamoto, Aonuma, that they had been trying to realize for the longest time, a truly open world Zelda game. And I think especially Breath of the Wild captured that essence and that idea, and it allowed for so much to be done in a $60 package. Like I think that's just one of my favorite games of all time, and I'll never forget it. And another one is also Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania has become my favorite Sonic game now. Like Sonic 2 was originally my favorite Sonic game. Sonic Mania definitely topped that. I'm gonna say that right now. It definitely topped that. And then after that, I'm gonna probably say Persona 5. Persona 5 is one of those games I like a lot. Like like in terms of JRPGs, it's one of the greatest. RPGs in general, it's one of the greatest. Because the only reason I say JRPGs, I don't really care for Western RPGs. I don't find that many to be really good or anything. But that's another video for another day.
Did you say, JRPGs?
No, I don't find Western RPGs to be that great.
Agree with you 100%.
You see, like Elder Scrolls. I especially hate Elder Scrolls and Fallout. My lord,
so much. It's so bad.
like I can have fun in Skyrim, but like they're not really all that good. Nubble Live, welcome to the stream, Nubble Live. We got a viewer on Twitch. Thank you, Nubbles. Thank you for coming out. Another game that I think that I liked a lot this year that I picked up was Project Diva, Cross or X. I don't know which one it is. It's a Japanese game, but I picked it up on PS4. Had a lot of fun with it. Haven't beaten it yet, but I've always liked the Project Diva series. I just I think I have one Project Diva PC the PC fan game that basically tried to port a lot of features from the PSP games onto the PC version that these fans made. but it never got fully realized. I think I have a video from a long time ago that I played that. I would also definitely say Super Mario Odyssey is one that I've liked a lot this year. Surprisingly, ARMS, I like, for the short amount of time that people played that game a lot. Mass Effect really isn't that good. It's not really that good.
No, I'd say ARMS too. I had some fun times when that was still relevant. I just don't think the like core gameplay is enough to keep me coming back. But when it first came out, I had a lot of fun with it, and I still go back to play it a lot. So that's cool. I like ARMS.
It's not even that like ARMS, like its core gameplay was bad or anything, or like it wasn't enough to bring me back, because it was enough to keep me playing. It was just like Nintendo didn't listen and patch things and fix things fast enough. Like grabs, I think to this day still haven't been really touched or anything, because like that was an issue in the game. Like even though like at a higher level you could get around them, if someone chose Ninjara, you weren't getting around grabs. You just weren't.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons why it died off so fast. Nintendo didn't really listen and heed people's, warnings fast enough, or just, people who actually play fighting games to some degree, fast. They didn't listen to them. And I would also say Splatoon 2. Splatoon 2 has been that is like legitimately one of my favorite shooters of all. The first Splatoon, like it tops the first Splatoon for me, and Splatoon 1 was my favorite shooter of all time. And just in terms of just online multiplayer shooters, I'm speaking strictly in that sense. Splatoon 2 has taken that for me in terms of online multiplayer shooting. Mion, Sonic Team should be fired and hire a fresh group with passion. Bro, we're not gonna talk about that. Sonic Forces has actually become one of my favorite games of this year. I've played a lot of games surprisingly this year. I also have to say A Hat in Time. That is definitely one of my favorite games of all time now. Like, A Hat in Time is genuinely one of those games that has a lot of charm, and it really does. It does revamp an era of games and a genre of games that we haven't seen in a while. The collectathon genre, which Mario Odyssey also, revamped
ukulele.
What's that trash? I just hear trash coming out of your mouth right now, Mono. Just hear trash coming out of your mouth. But really though, A Hat in Time is just it's just a great experience. I actually have to beat that game because right when I was playing it and stuff, had a lot of exams and stuff. I had to practice a lot on my horn and stuff, so I just didn't have as much time as I like. One other thing I really did like about A Hat in Time though was just like how it felt like, Odyssey in that game felt similar in a lot of ways, but it felt like the hats and stuff the hats in that game just did so much. They were abilities that you actually genuinely needed in a lot of circumstances. I wouldn't say Cuphead is one of my... Cuphead is a really good game. I just have to beat that game. I'm on the second world, and I just haven't had time. Because when I was actually, like, on the bus. We were on a football game, and it was, like, a 6-hour ride. I was playing it for, like, a solid, like, 2 hours. My laptop died in me in the middle playing the game. I lost my save data, and I just shut it off. I didn't reopen the game. I haven't reopened the game since that day. I have not reopened that game since that day. I never did so bad. Like I had gotten through a lot of the first bosses in the second place, and I was just really heated. I played surprisingly a lot of games this year. I didn't think I would. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe too. That's also a game I've had a lot of fun with. How about you, Mana?
Had a lot of fun with that too. Like 200cc was a cool addition, and just like playing that, it's like the perfect game to play with people when you bring the Switch, dude. Like,
oh my god, yes.
Just plop it down, get like the Joy-Cons and stuff, and get a whole bunch of people together. It's super good. Like it's like the best representation of what you can do with the Switch. So I love Mario Kart.
Exactly. Great. Like what is it? When I first got my Switch, I actually went to a Smash, went to a Smash tournament. Instead of playing Smash, guess what we played? We played Mario Kart 8 the entire time.
That game looks so good on the Switch. It's crazy. It always, like, Whenever I remember when the first time I plopped it in, I was like, "Damn, this game looks really good." And even then, I went back to it after like a couple of months. I was like, "This game still looks really good." So like,
It's
I
one of the
think Mario Kart
prettiest
8
games
is
I've
a
ever
deluxe
played.
package.
It is really a deluxe package. Like, I'm pretty sure there's some other games on this list for me in terms of my favorites, but like these are like my favorite games this year. Do you have any more games that you have that
Blade 2 will be one when it comes out.
I want to get that game so bad, but I don't have the money. When I get the money, I'm definitely gonna try to pick up that game. Let's actually move off the topic of the GOTY stuff. Let's talk about Dragon Ball Super, my dude. Actually, no, there was one
Oh
thing you wanted.
yeah.
Actually, before we talk about Dragon Ball Super, let's talk about these EA microtransactions. Um, Battlefront 2, or should I say, Microtransaction 2, is the.
Okay.
Go ahead, you go. It sounds like you got something good to say.
Yeah, it's really interesting because the information that has been coming out recently shows that like I think it pretty much is a reminder that EA doesn't really care if people don't like the things. They're only going to like shift focus when they're being threatened directly. So the only reason they turned off all of the I saw a comment that asked if we thought that the CGI in Forces is terrible.
Um, I haven't seen anyone say it's terrible. I thought it looked really good. What?
Me too. So, but yeah, apparently the only reason that EA took it out is because Disney got super. They got super pissed because you know how the Last Jedi is coming out in like next month. So the Star Wars name is pretty big right now. So if they have EA over here fucking up with the
Battlefront.
property like name and stuff with what?
No. I'm saying the name of the franchise. Go ahead, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah. If they're messing up with that, it could have negative effects on the movie. And so Disney was like, "Hey, if you guys keep on doing this, we're like legitimately going to take the property rights away from you, and you won't be able to make any more Star Wars games." So the only reason they took out all the microtransactions was because Disney intervened, and I'm pretty sure the only reason why they're not going to be in here until a later date, which is probably going to be next year, is because the movie will already been released by then, and
Yeah,
there's nothing
exactly.
to take away from like ticket sales and stuff. So the only reason they're doing it is because of Disney, and I think this just cements the fact that EA really doesn't care about the consumer. Their top priority is making money, and that's not like bad for a business because that's the point of a business in general. But like,
It's bad
it's
that
kind of a
they've
scummy.
lost they've lost like the sight of actually giving the consumer a good product. That's the thing.
That's when
Before
I think it becomes a problem.
before I'm gonna read some of this stuff. Looks like EA's trying to be greed Nintendo. First of all, even though I think the only game Nintendo has really been greedy with in terms of like microtransactions or anything is the Fire Emblem games DLC packs. Those are actually, I think, those are the only things I like will fault Nintendo with for DLC. Everything else they do pertaining to DLC is actually is extremely consumer friendly, especially like Arms and Splatoon getting free DLC. Like, my dude, come on. No, Trey, I'm sorry, I cannot agree with you on that. EA and Nintendo, actually, EA. The only reason they didn't support like the Wii U and they're hesitant to support the Switch is because EA wanted Nintendo to give them exclusive rights to their online service so they could control how their online service functioned and how their online stores functioned. So EA and Nintendo are not on good terms because of past business dealings, and Nintendo didn't want to do that. So, you gotta watch what you're saying about companies. Shadic, Black Ops 3 had worse microtransactions. I actually wanted to talk about that in a second. I'm gonna talk about just the way the gaming industry is moving ahead in general. There's CGI for Sonic Forces in the game. Yeah, I mean it was only like a few cutscenes. I'm playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 right now. Oh my lord, Utopia needs more incentive to needs more Utopia. I'm very confused. All right, I'm back in lots of cake and ice cream. Drinks on my birthday. Had a blast. Gonna be hungover tomorrow. Nice, insane pup. Happy birthday, man. I'm glad you had a fun one. I played the beta and love it. I thought getting the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta full game, but see, Martin, nah, EA took L, not my money. The L. Utopia has that problem being too open for its own good. That's actually kind of true when we're talking about Utopia, but we're talking about microtransactions right now. It is going to put cosmetic loot box, but LucasArts said that EA wasn't allowed to make all cosmetic, and so EA had to make the Sims. Is really big on Reddit at Shadicstick. I mean, still, it's the fact that the way they first of all, I don't like microtransactions really, period, in a game. Them making it purely cosmetic still doesn't, help the fact that you're implementing a system that hurts the player. Because even if it's purely cosmetic, the game is not free to play. It is a game I'm paying $60 for. I should get everything in the game unless it's additional content that justifies a price, unless it's actual legitimate additional content that's not being released at launch while after the game has released, and it justifies its price point. So, what I gotta say is, EA in general, especially when news we're hearing recently about their sports games, what they're gonna do, it's just a terrible company. And I think EA is EA and Activision are indicators of how the gaming industry is moving forward in a terrible way. First of all, I want to address EA. So EA has implemented this disgusting microtransaction stuff. They pulled it or whatever, blah, blah, blah. People aren't looking at the other things they're doing. So they're taking their sports games, instead of making them annual releases, or they're turning them into a service, which they're gonna make you pay yearly to play the game, which I don't agree with. You should not have these people paying over and over. If you're gonna make the game, make it a one-time purchase and then update it. Maybe add DLC packs every year that massively change the game, but do not make them pay, all this money every year because you turned your game into a service just for them to have to play the game. The fact that you have to pay to play the game every year, and it's not like an MMO. MMOs, there's a reason why they usually have, if they're monthly, why they have monthly subscriptions. They have to keep the servers up. But the fact that you have to pay to play this game that, for the most part, has a lot of single player aspects about it, is actually disgusting. It disgusts me. Activision. So let's talk about my bad. You have anything to say on this? I'm about to get heated. So
I think the biggest thing, right, is I think I don't think a company will ever become as bad as well, I think they can, but right now I don't think a company will be as bad as EA, just because right now they're the antithesis of the consumer. All their focus is being directed into them making as much money as they possibly can, right? And so with that, they start sacrificing quality, and they start sacrificing giving people a actually quality product that they would genuinely enjoy and have a good experience with. They've put all of that focus into them making something that would give them as much money as within a short amount of time as they possibly can. So when their studios, in the form of I forgot what it's called, but the guys who did Dead Space and stuff, when they're making a Star Wars game that's single player, and then EA just disbands the entire studio, and in the fact that they were making a single player game had an effect on that, that just shows that they don't care about giving people a good experience anymore. They just want to make as much money as they possibly can. They want to maximize capital, and so is genuinely kind of I find it disgusting, really, because it's gotten to the point where what was I about to say?
We're outsiders of the game. I gotta say this. It's gotten so bad. We're outsiders of the gaming industry. You have big news companies and outlets covering this, and EA. That's another reason why EA had to pull out all the microtransactions, because people were covering this. They were like, gamers are angry at this company's horrible, business practice, etc., etc. Because they were all
when
over
you
the
voted.
news.
Yeah, when you're voted worst company in America multiple
multiple
times
times.
a year, like in a row, you're doing something wrong. And I can't believe that they haven't gone through like you guys are saying Nintendo is getting greedy and stuff like that. Nintendo is so fucking tame with this shit. Like the only way that I can see Nintendo being greedy, quote unquote, is on YouTube with the way that they're handling
YouTube and Fire
copyright and
Emblem.
stuff like that.
YouTube and Fire Emblem, the only ways they're being greedy. Like otherwise,
Honestly, I think that's it. Everything else, they're giving you quality stuff for what you pay for. Like all these expansion packs, they're expansion packs. They're optional. You don't have to
and
buy them
before you go on, I gotta
to
say
get a
this:
better experience if you do.
there's a double standard with Nintendo. Like if Nintendo does something that's not even harmful and actually is rather good, like the Breath of the Wild expansion passes. People will see the Breath of the Wild expansion passes like Nintendo is getting greedy. Why they're making DLC? I'm just like, they're probably gonna take a loss if they release the DLC. The fact that the season pass for Breath of the Wild, which comes with a lot of content, the fact that it is $20 says something about Nintendo. It says that they are not anti-consumer. It shows that they are
And it's like
pro-consumer for the most part.
the biggest thing with me too is that like there's a pass with like companies like Capcom and that too, right? Like the whole Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite situation where they revealed DLC characters that you would have to purchase as soon as the game was announced, right? People didn't make as big of a fuss about that as they did with Breath of the Wild. You know, like I didn't see people talking about that. Like more people were hyped for it than they were angry at the fact that Capcom's already preparing these DLC characters. Like were obviously already implemented in the game, but they're just like waiting so that they can make more money off of it, right? And it's like it's apparent with the business model they have there, but like Nintendo actually is talking about them creating an entirely new story for us, them giving us extra challenges, and them giving us something else to do after the game is said and done because they want to give us a better experience. People are getting angry at that. It's like guys, like if you look at the way Nintendo is doing it with their online system, with their DLC and stuff, they're all pretty reasonable like things, right? All of it's optional, and all of it is something that you don't need to get the initial experience that you get with the game. Like when you buy the game.
Wait. Before you go on, granted, Nintendo has been spamming microtransactions nearly as much as other companies, but it's been making you spend a lot of money, other things around the game, as well as game monies and in other ways. Trey, you have no evidence.
He means
to
the
provide.
Switch.
What is he
Switch
mean?
and its peripherals, but that shit's kind of expensive. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes inside of the Switch.
I know what he's talking about. Not the Switch itself. He's talking about the SD card situation. Which, there are other options. You don't have to buy that one. You don't have to buy that SD card. That actually, that I think, going and doing your research for that is just a better decision than just going and buying the marked SD cards. That's one thing I don't really like that they're doing, but it's not something where it's inherently their fault if someone buys it. Someone's just not doing research. They're just basically getting people who are like moms and stuff, and they're buying stuff for their kids. I don't mind, but I don't like stuff being locked behind paywalls. Nintendo doesn't lock stuff behind paywalls. In terms of just buying games, nothing around their game is really locked. The only games they do stuff like that with, and I'm pretty sure this is more of an intelligent systems thing, because that's what it seems like it is. It's doggone Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem DLCs cost a lot of money for a little return. Those are the only games where I see this. Like, but as a whole, let's. I don't want to derail this too much further. Activision. Let's talk about the Activision microtransaction patent and how they drop loot boxes in front of players. They give you an achievement for watching someone open a loot box in Call of Duty World War II. How disgusting of a company do you have to be to do that? Are you serious?
Like, what I don't like about it too is that we can't like the thing that just pisses me off too is that like people are complaining about this, right? But they're continuing to feed these companies and tell them that it's okay, right? Like Destiny 2
Exactly.
is the best selling game of this year. It has sold the most copies of this year, and it is
Hmm.
riddled with microtransactions. Like, but instead of us being like, hey, how about you like chill on the microtransactions? We're not gonna buy the game until you like make it a more game oriented experience. People are eating it up, right? And it's just like if you guys are going to continue to buy these games and stuff, and you're only gonna like say something when it gets like super duper bad, like it's not helping anyone. You should be here and you should be like, hey, how about instead of you spamming this game with microtransactions and treating it like a service rather than an initial experience, you just make a game that it's worth playing and then like gradually release more and more expansions so that like you're getting a better experience and you're getting what you pay for. But no, like people just keep on. It's like I don't know.
And I thought that
This,
overwatching loot boxes were worse. Yeah, that's how bad it was.
yeah,
That's how bad it is. Giving an achievement for watching. Black Ops 3 has a very nasty supply drop system. I actually remember people talk. That's one of the things that derailed me away from that game. I refused to buy that game new, and I refused to buy it for more than $20 because while I've played the game, I think it's a fun game. Genuinely, it's a well crafted game. I've only really played multiplayer. I don't think that that's not okay that you have dropping, loot boxes in front of players to entice them to buy it because and like you said, people are giving into this. They're saying it's okay. I had my friend and I'm like he's a good friend and everything. But this kind of ticked me off when he was like trying to defend. I understand Destiny's like one of his favorite games of all time, but he tried to defend the Destiny, loot box thing where you had to, buy cosmetics that in the previous game were free.
yeah, definitely. Um, just with that, it's just like too, like Activision had a fucking strategic system implemented to get people to buy stuff. Like the whole pattern where they would pair up inexperienced players with players who were higher leveled and also bought the in-game weapons that would like make them super OP so that the newer players would be enticed to buy the weapons. It's fucking scummy. Like it's like the thought process behind that is it's just like let's make these people feel like they are bad at the game so that they resort to this other option that gives us money. It's super scummy. And, they were acting like they didn't implement it into some of these games and stuff like that. But a majority of people, like now that they heard about it, they were like, wow, that actually does seem pretty similar to an experience I had in Advanced Warfare or in Black Ops 3. So it's really dumb.
It's honestly one of the saddest things I've seen in the modern gaming industry. It's almost as sad as how gaming journalism has become. Like, oh my lord, streams dropping frame. Why am I dropping frames? I dropping frames.
Boys.
Dropping frames. Why am I dropping frames? All right, let's go down some. Let's turn that down some. Alright, sorry, my stream was dropping frames. My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. The stream was dropping frames. That's why you were getting lag. But, and it's still doing it. Someone's just using the internet. Genuinely, like, it angers me. It angers me that we like, people are giving in to these companies. Like, it's not like these companies would continue doing this if people weren't feeding the system. But you have people feeding the system. This is why I haven't bought a COD. One of the reasons why I haven't bought a COD game in years. Why I haven't bought a Battlefield game in years. Why I haven't bought all these games in years. Because people give into the system. Another game that came out this year that a lot of people like, but guess what? It had loot boxes. Assassin's Creed Origins. It's a doggone single player game. Why are you putting loot boxes in single player games? And I think the loot crate system started, and I hated it started with this game, but it started with that. The game that made it big was Team Fortress 2, and then Overwatch helped take that to a new level. When Overwatch revived that hero shooter genre, it also revived one of the most cancerous things in the hero shooter genre: loot boxes.
Yeah. That's something that's always pissed me off with Overwatch 2, because it's like the model that they have with it is that they have these skins only available for a certain amount of time, so you're gonna have to pay a whole lot to get them, and you don't even have a guarantee of getting them. You know, so it's like you spend all this money trying to get this one skin you really like, when like they could have easily made it like available for purchase for like $2, $3 or something, but they really don't. I don't like Overwatch's model with that either. Like, it gets a pass because it's a really good game, and like I'm pretty sure a majority of the things that you buy are cosmetic. But at the same time, I do know of people who would like to like earn said things within the game instead of like doing that. So I don't really like Overwatch.
Yeah.
I don't like the loot box model to begin with.
I like Overwatch as a game, but one of the reasons I get turned off from it is because of the loot box model. And all of it's cosmetic. It's all cosmetic, but it was getting to the point where people, like, during events, people would level up like 50 levels, and they wouldn't get what they wanted. That's
exactly
how RNG based it was. So they had to implement the system where you could buy it with in-game coins, and it's hard to get in-game coins because you would have to get duplicates. Like, you can't just earn the money in-game. It's via loot boxes. So loot boxes, like, this shows how bad they are. Like, I'm sorry, like, loot boxes are genuine, just microtransactions in general, but especially loot boxes are one of the greatest hindrances to modern gaming. And when people realize that they are feeding the system, then people will stop buying these games, buying into these systems, and then hopefully these game developers see, oh, let's actually make a good game that people want to play, instead of making a game that has great features, attracts people, only for them to have a paywall where there's nothing but microtransactions. Like, in general.
It does in fact like hinder the game development, right? Because now people are looking at places like EA and Activision, seeing how much money they're making off of stuff like Destiny and like their sports franchises and stuff like that, and they're like, hey, why not, instead of us pouring all this money into one game experience that's only going to make this amount of money for this amount of time, why don't we just make like a game that works as a subscription service, so that we have this constant stream of revenue and we don't really have to like worry about anything? Because like a whole bunch of these these game companies, you know, they have these games and stuff, and they could leave these games like this for like years, you know. They could like Activision and Bungie, they don't have to work on another Destiny for a while, and they will make a ton of money off of it. And it's like these game developers are looking at that, and they're like, how about instead of us doing this thing where the only amount of money that we get is from the initial purchase, why don't we just do these services and these like service type games and stuff? And it's so bad. It's like super toxic to the industry as a whole, because sooner or later, right, it's gonna get to the point where all of gaming is centered around that. Like, I think the worst thing, once again, is with the whole EA Star Wars single player game fiasco. That in itself was like a reminder of what's to come if we continue to buy and like pay for these microtransactions in game. Like, I don't think anyone, like, here's the thing, I would be completely fine if microtransactions were there as an option for like the player who didn't want to do it, right? But like, I find it rarely in a game that you have to work hard for something that like harder for something that's also available as a microtransaction, you know? Like, usually if these guys have microtransactions within their game, you're gonna have to put a lot more time into the game than you normally would just to get the small thing that you wanted to get. So it's like
exactly
really dumb in general. And I just think that for the future, like, we should like make it so that you unlock things in the game because you played the game. You get that satisfaction from playing the game instead of you saving up money to buy something in the game like that. It's so dumb for me. And like I said, the only time I think that you should ever have transactions involved with a game is with like an expansion pass or something. I think that's a genuinely beneficial thing to the industry, because it's like this extra experience for a set amount of money that you that you pay. It's a cool thing because like there are tons of people who play a game and they're just like, wow, I love this game. I would love to get more. And now you can get more if you pay a little extra. And I'm completely fine with that. I'm not fine with them spamming this whole microtransaction DLC system down your throat. It's terrible.
It really is, and it shows where, like I said, the gaming industry is going. So to steer the conversation somewhere else, because I'm gonna become the new Yang Ye if I keep sitting here talking about microtransactions. Just my channel will be dedicated to saving the gaming industry. Let's talk about Dragon Ball Super. Actually, now this is how your boy trying to introduce the anime content. Hit that young like, donate for your boy to do more anime content.
What?
It's a microtransaction in itself. Microtransactions for anime content. No, on the real though. We're gonna be talking about. First of all, I want to talk about Ultra Instinct in general, and then also like the Goku versus Kefla fight. So let's talk about Ultra Instinct. I personally like Ultra Instinct and I like the concept and I like how they portrayed it. And I think this was something they really had been planning for a while. It didn't just seem like spur of the moment they added it in. Because especially with that flashback that Vegeta had in the most recent episode, it kind of, confirmed my guesses that this was something they've been planning. I was like, this is the transformation we've been waiting for. Trey, as much as you may dislike Dragon Ball Super, Ultra Instinct is the rawest transformation we've had in the series. I cannot sit here and lie. How do you feel?
I like Ultra Instinct a lot. It does make sense, and it seems like because honestly with the recent transformations we've been getting, I don't feel like there's any real emotion or purpose behind them. I feel like they're just there for the sake of putting a new transformation there. I'm not the biggest fan of Super Saiyan Blue, at all. I don't like it a whole lot. But I do like Ultra Instinct, and it makes sense because it's something that was introduced very early on in the series, and they've gradually been I don't think they've done it in the best way, but they've been progressing towards it and hinting at it. And now that it's actually here, it does make sense in the way that they're portraying it because it's it's more of a defensive thing, but that defensive than offensive, it does require you to be able to master it in order to effectively use it. Because the whole Goku is actually pushing Kefla back, but he's not doing a whole lot of damage because he's not
he's thinking before not he using attacks.
It's instinct, but you're not really using instinct if you're attacking. It's more thought. So he's not using it to the fullest extent when he's attacking.
Like when he's attacking, it just should feel natural. He shouldn't have to think twice about it. His body should just do it. He should let his body do the fighting. My bad for interrupting.
It's there's still some there's still a genuine wall and hurdle for him to jump over. Because it's a daunting thing to be able to be okay, in order for me to master this, I have to stop thinking altogether. That's a hard thing to do.
He legitimately has to shut
in
his
real
brain
life
off.
and everything.
It's
gotten to the point.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Good.
It's gotten to the point where it's a transformation that's he has to go through some genuine struggle before he can fully unlock it, and the other transformation haven't really felt like that. So
yeah, the only one that had that struggle was Super Saiyan 1, because base Super Saiyan, it took him the longest. Him and Gohan had to master it. That's why they went into the hyperbolic time chamber. They went in there to master that form, so it didn't take stamina. And I think this form, honestly, I think it shows, one of the things that I think Dragon Ball hasn't really shown is that, in theory, it is attainable by everybody. Anybody can technically go in Ultra Instinct. It may be harder for you if you're a god or not, but everyone can go Ultra Instinct. You know what I'm saying? They said this is a form that's it's really, really, really hard to attain. So, I genuinely think by the end of the series, we're gonna see like characters like Frieza, hopefully Vegeta. I think Vegeta and Frieza are gonna have it by the end of the series, definitely. Especially Vegeta, because Vegeta, like instead of like trying to, it didn't look like he was jealous or anything. It looked more like he was analyzing what Goku was doing to reach that form. Because
apparently, in like one of the next episodes, he's gonna try mimicking Goku. His face with like the whole like acting before thinking thing, and he's not gonna be able to do it.
Oh, that sucks. I'm back. Welcome back, Mugman. Gas, you're here to. At least you got a. Oh man, I can imagine it being maybe half Jiren level, so Master is key for now. Well, the thing is, like with Jiren, like he was going toe to toe with Jiren. It wasn't like Jiren was like, you know, significantly stronger. It wasn't until Goku lost the form that Jiren pushed back against him and overpowered him. Like when Goku had the form, when he did it the first time, which was like the truly stop thinking before doing anything else. He was going toe to toe. He was going completely toe to toe with Jiren. Like, my lord, I was actually very genuinely surprised that he like this form was that strong, but and I was also hyped that it was that strong. I do think he is learning, he is getting, like, in terms of physically, his body is able to handle it more now. Because that fight with Kefla, my god, this man pulled out the Sonic Adventure 2 grind on them energy beams with a Kamehameha.
Oh, it's really... So I liked it. Animations there, but I think it was pretty well executed, so I don't really care about that. But in general, I think it was a really good fight. It was super hype, and like I think it was better than the one against Jiren. Because you saw the full extent of Ultra Instinct, right? And how it could be implemented and stuff, and then you saw some really cool flashy stuff that I don't think we've seen in Super in a while, and it reminded me of Dragon Ball Z.
I think I don't know what the equivalent for Ultra Instinct would be in Sonic lore. if Sonic is a demon.
Fucking hypersonic boys.
Hypersonic, that's the real Ultra Instinct boys. Dragon Ball stole that.
Bro, there's yes, let's go. Let's start that.
But honestly, like one thing I gotta say, especially because of this art, the animation, especially over the course of this arc, has gotten better. But for the series as a whole, has gotten better. And I think the hype around Ultra Instinct, you know, I think Toei bet all their money on Ultra Instinct, even though the Ultra Instinct fight itself did not generate, like when they first showed it off against Jiren. Mm-hmm. I think that was the lowest views Super had ever gotten. Like ever. Like I think period for the Dragon Ball series. I think that's the lowest views the Dragon Ball series has ever gotten. And in Japan, airing in Japan on TV. But I think they were betting all their money that, you know, the Ultra Instinct would push their budget up and they would get higher numbers and everything. Because, like, Ultra Instinct, introducing it into the series opens up so many opportunities for different characters to grow. Like, I feel like this is gonna put a lot of I think it's gonna put a lot of the stronger characters, a lot of the stronger Z fighters back at an advantage if they are ever able to attain this form. Like Piccolo, though people don't realize Piccolo's like, out of everyone who's not Vegeta or Goku in, you know, Universe 7, Piccolo's genuinely the strongest person out of all of them. He's the only one that's constantly trained, and he just mind trains. He doesn't even have to physically train. The fact that he beat Kefla, Patara Fusion, the form is much stronger than we think. Yeah, another thing to go on with is, like, Kefla, well, we knew Kefla was definitely a bit stronger than, Super Saiyan God, Kaioken times 30 or whatever. We definitely knew that form, just in base form, was stronger than that. And we knew, we knew Kale was stronger than that, because Kale in Berserk mode was just pooping on him. Even though Goku had more experience, you know, the in general, just in raw strength, that Berserk mode was much stronger than anything they had really seen. And Well, they didn't really use that Berserk Super Saiyan mode. They went Super Saiyan, I think Super Saiyan grade 2, grade 1, grade 2 it looked like. And they utilized just a slightly stronger form of Super Saiyan. I think that that Ultra Instinct fight really put the strength of all the characters in the arena in perspective. And I think that the 17 and 18 fight that we're getting next week is actually going to be really cool. But what do you have to say, Mono? What do you have to say, Mono?
I think the only problem I really have is I don't like the Universe 6 Saiyans at all. Because I think, like, they're just plowing through all these transformations and none of them have any meaning anymore, you know? Like, I don't know. I used to like when Dragon Ball was a little bit more grounded and a lot of the stuff was, like Dragon Ball, you know? Like, a lot of the transformations were based around, like, character development and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And out of hand now. And I feel like too strong for their own good, you know? Like,
yeah.
Apparently Kefla, when she was powering up, was stronger than Ultra Instinct Goku the first time he unlocked it.
I'm
just sitting here. I'm like,
first time, the second time maybe, but like the first time, like the first time that man was putting hands with Jiren.
I don't know if this is what it is, but based on the way that Piccolo said it, is he said she's like, he says along the lines of the power she's putting out is greater than the one that Goku was putting out before, in reference to like when he first unlocked Ultra Instinct. So I'm just like, I mean, like there's a limit, you know. And I just feel like right now these Universe 6 Saiyans are way too strong. Like,
well, it's like this. First of all, Kel and Kefla are just trash characters. They're just trash characters. I agree
with that 100%.
Kaba, I'm starting to dislike Kaba, but at the same time, I don't 100% dislike him. Also, kind of like him because he's more grounded than Kel and Kefla. Like, Vegeta gave him a situation. Like, his power up, especially his power ups were actually for character development. I gotta give him credit because when he originally went Super Saiyan, Vegeta did that simply to show him Super Saiyan, and then Vegeta just put him in his place. He was just like, but you're not ready to fight me, boy. He went Super Saiyan Blue and just punched him. Knocked the boy out. And then he went Super Saiyan 2 in that fight against I'm just call her Ultra Thick Girl. Ultra Thick Stink.
Roly-poly?
Roly-poly. Ultra Thick Roly-poly. We'll call it that. He used Super Saiyan 2 against her, but it was a character development thing. And he still didn't, when he went up against Frieza, you know, Frieza just bumped that man off the map. Like, it showed like he was, like, it showed how strong he was, but it put into perspective how strong, they put into perspective how strong he was in comparison to other characters. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna become Super Saiyan 3 now.
Yes, exactly. It's so annoying, but definitely those two are my least favorite characters on that show at this point in time because there's no emotion with them anymore. I think they're trying to do a same situation with like Vegeta and Kappa with like Goku and them.
But it's just not working
like,
out.
It's not working at all. Like, I do like Kefla's design, and I do like her general personality, but it kind of pisses me off.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I was reading the chat, and Avatar came into the chat and said, PUBG winning GOTY. And then this man, Luis, he said, silence Narutuber. This man said, silence Narutuber.
Damn.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Keep going. Keep going.
But yeah, I do like some aspects of Kefla, but I don't think she's a good character at all. No.
Like if they created these characters just for the purpose of having female Saiyans, and they created this edgy piece of garbage named Kefla, which I think like they tried too hard to give her a presence. She has more of a presence than she should. She's too shallow of a character. You know what I mean?
It's power. That's the only way I can describe it. Power.
Like, I would like it. It shouldn't have to be like necessarily super grounded or anything. I just wish she wasn't such a hollow shell of a character. You know what I mean? It's just they don't give any substance to them, man.
The only thing I really have a problem with. The thing here with me too is I'm starting to wonder like why, because it seems like at this point in time their fusion would be stronger than in Vegeta. Well, not even stronger, but it would give Vegeta and Goku's fusion a run for its money, and I don't think that's like really be fair, because not only are these two both like master fighters, right, but they've also had a lot more experience with these respective forms than those two will have, you know?
True. Well, I'll give this
general,
to Kale. In terms of Kale being, you know, the legendary Super Saiyan, or having the legendary Super Saiyan form of Legend or whatever, you know, the one that was the true Saiyan essence, you know what I mean? I believe Pan from GT or Khalifa's super form. Pan from GT definitely. What is it? But it's when you look at how they present it, Khalifa is just getting stronger for no reason. Cal has that hidden potential. You know what I mean? She had that berserk mode. While I didn't like Cal as a character, it worked. You know what I mean? For storytelling. But now she just mastered it. She's just like, I mastered it in 2 minutes. Wow! And I'm like, that's not how character development works. What are y'all doing?
Really? Just the thing with story. I don't with forces. Not forces. What the fuck? That's the thing with Dragon Ball Super. I think it just has some pretty bad execution. Like right now, it seems like they're trying to wow us with as much things as they possibly can, so that they retain our attention for a little bit longer.
I
that's
agree
really
to
like.
some degree on that. I do.
It looks cool, but that's kind of all I can say about it.
Because like you have other fights within this tournament that are actually like defining fights. You know what I mean? Like Hit got character development. Out of all the characters, you know, that I didn't really expect much character development from, he was at one of those at the top of the list, but he got put into perspective by Jiren. This man Jiren just looked at him and he was gone. He looked at this man's Rasengan. This man Jiren is stronger than time. This man Jiren
I swear to God, I hate Jiren so much because he's not even a character. He's just a wall for Goku to overcome. That's his only purpose.
But I don't hate him for that, because he serves the purpose of that well. Like, he's just one of those things. He's just a legendary existence. They aren't trying to make him seem bigger in terms of he's big in what he needs to be big in. You know what I mean? Because I don't think every character needs to have the most amount of depth. They don't even need to tell me why he's so strong. If they do, that's a plus. But we do know that the mortal level for his universe is extremely high. So we know the people from that universe are extremely strong, and the fact that he's extremely strong isn't anything that's surprising. You know what I mean? He comes from one of the stronger universes. So wait, let me read this. Jiren is hype. Yeah, Jiren is hype though. Like he's just he's an enigma. You don't know why he's so strong, but he's really strong, and it's just fascinating to see him do things. Like I said, he looked at this man's hit strong. He looked at Hit's strongest attack, and it eliminated Hit. He looked at him so hard that it eliminated him. Think about that. Think about that. He looked at him so hard, he got eliminated.
Fucking rest in peace, Hit. Oh, but yeah, Universe 6 is screwed now because they only have those Namekian boys. What are they gonna do? They're done.
The only thing they can do is do like the little Namekian fusion thing where it makes one of them stronger. That's legit all they can do.
Not even gonna do a whole lot to begin with, so.
Honestly, like, I don't know what they're gonna do with them boys. I just feel like Universe 6 is gonna be gone in a few episodes.
I do too, honestly.
Well, Jiren's strong is because meditation, which is apparently much greater than Piccolo's meditation. Because yeah, we do know Piccolo's like in terms of power, Piccolo is like from what we know, he's up there, but he's not Jiren level. That man Jiren, like that man Jiren, he's an enigma. Like the fact that his meditation gives him that much power in a short amount of time says something. I just. In terms of Super, I'm glad there are a lot of things about it improving. I don't like Kel and Khalifa. They're just trash characters. But as for the rest of it, a lot of it's getting better. While they are doing things that are just showing us for the sake of showing us things, I think, it's better than what they have been doing. Because the Goku Black Arc just... The Goku Black Arc is Sonic Forces. It's Sonic Forces, but worse. It's the Sonic Forces story, but like 100 times worse. Think
Pretty
about
much.
that. That's what it is. Well, do you have anything else that you want to say on this, Mono?
Honestly, not really.
I don't think I have anything else much I want to say either. Nothing that I want to say that, I think I'm going to video. Keith Cliff Grouse. What's good, Nick? How you doing, my dude? Jiren can master Chaos Power and beat the Super Form and Super Sonic like my boy Nux in Sonic 3. You're right. Yeah, that ending especially for Black Art was bad. But what were we gonna say, Mono?
You have to address or what?
Huh?
Like, is there anything else that we are going to talk about or what? Because honestly,
No, I'm about to end
much
it right
everything
now.
was. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, but this has been your man Shadicstick. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that young donate and sponsor button on YouTube Gaming. If you're watching this post, just go to the link in the description. You can sponsor there or donate there. Please check out Monocryptic's channel. The man makes a lot of good content. He really, really does. He makes a lot of good content. Don't sit up there and laugh. I will hurt you. I will hurt you, Mono. Go check out this man's channel. He makes Sonic Monster Hunter videos. This is me, your man Shadicstick and Monocryptic, and we're out. Peace. Kiss, kiss.